Here we are. Here I am. All right, we're going to call the meeting of the Currituck County Planning Board, May 12th, 2026 meeting to order. At this time, I wish everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, this time we're going to ask for disqualifications on any of the cases before us tonight. Okay. Hearing none. Item number 3, we do have a quorum, 4 out of 7. And at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion for approval of tonight's agenda.
Make the motion.
We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. We'll let Peggy have that. I think she got that in a while. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Motion passes. Also, item number 5, if you've had a chance to look at the minutes from our last meeting, our April 14th meeting, if you note any changes, please let Cherie know. If not, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Motion passes.
I'm trying to get Peggy to do it.
Okay.
Next time.
Having no old business, we're going to move on quickly to new business. Item number 1, Planning Board 26-06 Bear. Mitchell and Lisa Marie Bear. Is that the right pronunciation? Yes. Yeah, Lisa Marie Bear are requesting an amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 4, Use Standards to allow tattoo parlors / body piercing establishments in the general business district, subject to a special use permit and use specific standards. At this time, we'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening to the Planning Board tonight. Thanks for your attendance. This is a text amendment proposal to the ordinance. As you just read, this is they're requesting an amendment to allow tattoo parlor / body piercing establishments in the general business zoning district, subject to a special use permit and some specific standards for that use. So just kind of generally updating this board on that special use permit process. Special use permit is issued and reviewed through an evidentiary hearing where the applicant brings testimony to the Board of Commissioners. This board doesn't hear special use permits because of the nature of those evidentiary hearings, but they will bring in testimony to show how the use will not endanger the public health or safety. They'll be required to present evidence to that. They will show that the use will not injure the value of adjoining or abutting lands and will be in harmony in the area it's located. That's another requirement of a special use permit. They will show that it is consistent with county adopted plans. And then the fourth finding for all special use permits is it doesn't affect adequate public school facilities. So that's a very specific type of permit that has a very high level of scrutiny and review. And with this particular use, that is the approach that we discussed in the pre-application conference, kind of pointing your attention to the staff report in your agenda packet on page 6 of 24, or the memo itself, page 1 of 5. You can see that the Board of Commissioners did discuss this tattoo parlor use at a work session recently. They decided not to initiate this amendment. We gave some feedback back to these applicants about their concerns with compatibility and suggested that that special use permit process might give them the ability to have this particular use in the general business district with some specific standards so they could address potential impacts and ensure compatibility with surrounding uses. So this is the text amendment that they have moved forward with. There's a lot of background on tattoo parlor / body piercing establishments on the history of how it's been permitted over the years in Currituck County. And you can see that here in your agenda packet. I will kind of point your attention to the 07 amendment where the board approved a text amendment to allow this use in the general business, commercial, light, and heavy manufacturing zoning districts back in 07 with a conditional use permit and some special requirements. A lot of these special requirements are still included in the ordinance, in their proposed ordinance. I will also point you to a review of the nearby jurisdictions. You can see that in the memo. Hopefully you've had a chance to check those out, to see in Dare County, they're permissible in a village commercial district with a special use permit, and Duck, it's not permitted. Kitty Hawk is permissible in certain zoning districts with a special use permit and some specific requirements regarding spacing, hours of operation. This particular amendment does not suggest hours of operation. That could be added if that was something that you felt was appropriate. So you're allowed to suggest, if you were to move towards a approval recommendation, you could add conditions that might be appropriate if you chose to do that. In Kildapple Hills, they're permitted in light industrial with a special use permit and specific requirements. Nags Head again with a special use permit, Mania with a special use permit, Pasquotank County by right with a zoning permit. And so just getting to the language of their specific amendment, you can see here they're requesting a change to the summary use table. The underlined U in the general business column there suggests that it could be approved with a special use permit. These are the existing standards that are in the ordinance for this particular use. And you can see with regard to separation for this type of use in the general business district, they're proposing that it not be required to meet the 500-foot separation from a residential use. The rest of those standards will remain. The signage ordinance was very prohibitive. Basically the way it was written, you couldn't have any display of the business itself, only like directional type signage and things that are exempt from the ordinance. So there is a strike through and a rewrite of the sign ordinance. Again, the applicants are open to, crafting that in a way that would allow them to operate. And obviously this text amendment will apply countywide. So it is their application and they're hoping that it works for the location that they're choosing, but it will also apply countywide. So keep that in mind. And so the additional standards, so since that 500-foot separation from residential uses is being stricken, and just as a note, residential uses are allowed in GB. There are lots of homes already in GB in the county. There's some additional standards that in the GB district, a type C perimeter landscape buffer is required, or a minimum 6-foot tall opaque fence shall be installed adjacent to residential structures within 100 feet of the tattoo parlor or body piercing establishment use. And then another condition just to clarify that all activity will occur within a fully enclosed structure. Any questions on the amendment language?
You back up a couple of slides, the one residential use, okay. Except for that, okay, that was just one to.
I do have a general question, Jay. Could you explain, we've been here, I think I would know this by now. Explain the difference between a special use permit and a conditional use permit. I want to make sure the board understands the difference.
So a special use permit and conditional zoning, is that what you said?
Yes, as it would apply in this case.
Okay. So in this case, a special use permit is a permit that is issued by the Board of Commissioners through that evidentiary hearing.
Okay.
The applicant will bring their testimony to the board. It will be a very formalized approach where they will offer testimony to certain factors as needed to establish that their use is firstly going to be compliant with the ordinance, and then with those 4 findings that I spoke about earlier. So not endanger the public health and safety, not injure the value of adjoining or abutting lands. And that's one of those things that has to be done by an appraiser. Mm-hmm. And then be in conformity with the land use plan or other county adopted plans, and not impact school facilities. So that's the special use permit process. Now, conditional zoning is a process that this board participates in. It's parcel specific. There are certain uses that are only allowed with conditional zoning.
Right.
But that will apply to a specific property, similar to a special use permit.
Okay.
You may have more discretion to agree to conditions of
On the
approval
conditions.
with the applicant. Yeah. The difficulty sometimes with those conditional zonings is changing them, right? So if you were in a GB district and you had a conditional zoning for, a tattoo parlor, if you did want to change the use later, it could be difficult to do that.
Okay.
Certainly, we could look at language to make that a possibility, but it's really more, I guess, you have more legislative discretion in the conditional zoning. In the special use permit process, if they can show that they're meeting those 4 factors and they're meeting the ordinance, the Board of Commissioners pretty much has to issue that permit. So they're,
Expert witnesses too.
Correct.
With
Right.
certain.
like the
back-
appraisers is
background.
required.
They have to have certain criterion to be an expert witness.
Yeah,
In that
for
case.
that, yeah. Now, some of those findings, like a land use plan, I mean, it could be
Right.
staff potentially, or an engineer, or someone who's used the land use plan quite a bit.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah, and those options were laid out in the memo. I didn't want to get it too confused because this is the approach that they chose based off of the initial discussions with staff. But understanding that their ultimate goal is to allow this use on the site where they have, which is zone general business.
Right.
Just thought we would throw out that, let's say the board thought a different approach would be best, then there would be the option of giving that feedback, and we could potentially craft additional language and bring that back to you.
Because at this time, it's allowed in general business, tattoo parlors and piercing.
At this time, it's
Right.
not allowed in general
Not in
business.
general business.
And they want to allow it in general business.
But there are some tattoo parlors that are
So
in
there
general
are-
business. That's why I'm.
Right. So, and in your staff report, to staff's knowledge, there is, I believe it's called Big Country
Yeah, in
Tattoo
Moyoc.
Collective in Moyoc. That's a non-conforming use. And if you look at the history of how tattoo parlors have been allowed in the county, there was a time when they were allowed in GB,
Right.
commercial. With the 2013 adoption of the ordinance, that changed and it was zoning permit. So prior to that, it was conditional use permit in any zoning district that it was allowed. So GB, conditional use permit, commercial, conditional use permit, light manufacturing, conditional use permit, and heavy manufacturing, conditional use permit. That was what it was before the 2013 ordinance. With the adoption of the 2013 ordinance, it went from conditional use permit to zoning permit, but only allowed in light industrial and heavy
So
industrial.
the general business was off the
It
table.
was removed, yes.
So, because when it was under, because I remember this years and years ago, under general business, which we're looking at this slide now, there were all the stipulations. It could come under general business, but an adult, a religious institution within 500 feet. That is the way the ordinance was in the past.
That's the way it was, and that's the way it currently is.
Right, but it has to fall under now, not just general business, but heavy,
Light or heavy
light or heavy,
at a zoning permit,
and a zoning permit.
and meeting
Okay.
these separation requirements,
So
right?
these stipulations are still in place, but not under general business anymore.
Not permitted in general business currently. So that's what they're trying to do. They have a general business site. They want to allow tattoo parlor use on that site. So that's why they're coming in with this application.
Okay,
So we were at a spot where you could do it with a conditional use permit, which is the same as a special use permit.
right.
And then with the 2013 ordinance, it was just zoning permit, which is an administrative review with meeting these standards, right? And only allowed in those industrial districts, right?
They still
And
have to meet
typically-
these standards. They still have to meet these standards.
Yes, so they would meet the separation standards, including the residential use separation standard.
Okay,
And they couldn't really have signs based off of this.
right.
I'm not aware of any in light or heavy industrial, though, any tattoo parlors. And, right, and so these additional standards, anything that's underlined as new language that they're proposing to put into the ordinance to allow their use.
Right. So, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I do want the board to understand the history and what's going on. Now, another route, possibly, someone could have something rezoned from general business to light industry.
Could.
Go that route and then meet these standards. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd have to meet those
that's
first.
an avenue
Right.
as well.
It
Okay.
is. It is an avenue. It's, yeah.
I want everybody to understand the twists and turns of all this
Yeah.
and to have a good understanding. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any questions for staff?
Yes, just a quick question, if I may. When I looked at the preamble to tonight's proceedings, there are 2 existing tattoo parlors, one of which is in Grandy and is not properly licensed or permitted and so on. How vigorously is that pursued, or is it allowed just to happen in full view of everyone, or is it pursued at all?
Well, they're under violation, and it's a recent violation that was sent out.
Oh, I see.
So.
It's not as if it just been going for a while, as it were.
I think it's been there for a year or more. It's pretty nondescript. There's a sign out front. If you couldn't read the sign, you wouldn't probably realize what was being operated there. That I know, because I've passed by it. But yeah, so that's why that's here. So it's saying that Big Country was predated the change in 2013, and this siren song in Grandy was not permitted as a tattoo parlor, but they're operating as a tattoo parlor. So if this language were to be adopted, then they could potentially come in, request a special use permit if that was their choice to come into compliance. Otherwise, they will be subject to, basically complying with the ordinance, the full enforcement process.
Okay. Any more questions for staff? Steve?
Yeah, I have one more. The 500 feet of residential use, how close is the closest residential use to this property?
To the property they're looking
Yes.
for, it's close. It's next door.
Okay,
On either side, there's residential uses. The next door ones are in general business zoning.
Right.
And then there are some along a different road, I believe, that are residentially zoned and have dwellings there.
so this may be within that 500 feet.
It'll be within 500 feet of a residential use, but since it's located in GB, according to this language, that wouldn't apply. And that's why we have crafted the additional standards and have suggested that the special use permit process is another set of standards above to ensure compatibility. Typically in GB, you're going to have GB uses closer to houses than you would generally have LI or HI uses. So you want to mitigate any impacts.
And most of 158/168
A lot of
is
it.
general business.
A lot of it is, yes.
Okay.
And lots of houses
All along
are
there.
there as well, yes. So you want me to get through the
Yeah.
land use plan part? Okay. So there are policies that may apply here. Community mission statement regarding economic development ventures, land use policies about considering community character, considering the design and location of intensive and potentially incompatible land uses to mitigate compatibility issues. Land use policy 2.1 to continue to encourage businesses to coordinate site design with nearby businesses. Land use policy 2.2, continue to prohibit incompatible or poorly planned commercial encroachment near residential areas. 2.8, consider adverse effects of a development or land use decision. Land use goal 3, support new and existing commercial developments that adhere to quality community appearance and design standards, including landscaping and signs. And economic development goal 1, support the retention and expansion of existing businesses and promote the development of new businesses, especially those that help diversify the local economy and are compatible with the county's natural amenities and environment. You are very aware of these review standards, the text amendment review standards that you may consider when deciding whether to recommend approval with changes, or denial of the application. And staff does recommend approval because it's consistent with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance and the goals, including some of those land use goals I just read, as well as economic development goal 1. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about that recommendation as well.
Okay, any questions for staff?
No, it's pretty laid out on here.
Okay, at this time, if someone wants, any of the applicants or someone wants to speak on behalf of this case, please come forward. State your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, my name is Mitchell Baker. Good evening, and thank you for. My wife, Lisa Marie, and I are requesting a text amendment to allow tattoo parlors and body piercing establishments within the general business district through a special use permit process with use-specific standards. We are not requesting unrestricted right by use. We support the additional oversight, compatibility review, landscaping requirements, signage limitations, and operational standards recommended by staff. Our goal is to create a small, appointment-only private tattoo studio on our property in Maple, North Carolina, where we also plan to build our home. This type of business operates much more similarly to a professional personal service studio than an industrial use. Our operations involve very low daily traffic, no outdoor activity, no nightlife component, enclosed services only, and extremely limited impact on surrounding properties. We appreciate the thoughtful approach staff took in creating these standards creating standards that balance economic opportunity with compatibility and community character.
Okay, any questions for the applicant?
Do you have a conceptual drawing of what you're looking to do? Or something along that nature?
Yes, sir, we do.
Got it.
It
Yeah.
was submitted in our application.
Okay, because I'm just not seeing it in the,
I don't have it physically printed, but I can pull it up on the computer. Sorry. Should I go?
Yeah, we wouldn't really put we didn't really, it was actually, I think, an afterthought of the application, but not really germane to a text amendment to establish the use, but we can certainly probably get to that if you wanted to see
I
it.
was just curious if how far along in your thought process you've got everything laid out.
We have not signed the contract with the builders yet because we wanted to get all of this straight, and then we were going to go ahead with the building process. We have all of the building plans, and we've submitted those to you, which is what we were talking about.
House is separate.
Do what?
Everything's
Yes, everything is separate. There's going to be 2 dwellings on the property. One will be the home, the private, and then the private tattoo studio will be separate from the house.
How much property do you have for the 2 buildings?
1 acre.
We have about an acre, ma'am.
Okay.
If you want to speak, come up here, please.
And state your name.
Hello, my name is Lisa Marie Bear, and I reside at 115 Trevor Way in Mooryock, North Carolina. This is my husband, Mitchell Bear, and we have been working very diligently here with the planning team and builders and just trying to make sure that everything is in compliance. So, the dwellings take up about 20% of the property, and so far we have been studio owners for over 5 years in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and we have always passed our health inspection with flying colors, no issues, and we're excited to bring our business from Virginia Beach here to North Carolina. Our son is starting JP Knapp early college this year, so we're really trying to make this work for us. I do have something prepared if I'm able to speak.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Marie Bear, and thank you again for allowing us the opportunity to speak tonight. For us, this request is about creating something intentional, responsible, and deeply rooted in the community we plan to call home long term. We are not proposing a high-traffic commercial operation or anything that would disrupt the surrounding area. What we envision is a quiet, appointment-only, private studio that reflects professionalism, cleanliness, creativity, and respect for the character of Currituck County. As both business owners and future residents of this property, we have every incentive to ensure that what we build enhances the area rather than detracts from it. This isn't just a business location for us, it's our future home, our future livelihood, and something we are investing our lives into. One thing I really appreciate about the proposed amendment is that it creates accountability. The special use permit process, buffering requirements, signage limitations, and operational standards all help ensure that any future use remains compatible with surrounding properties and aligned with the county's vision. We support those standards because we understand the importance of protecting community character while also allowing responsible small businesses to grow. Our goal is to create a professional, low-impact environment that reflects the direction many modern professional personal service industries have moved toward. Private, appointment-based experiences with minimal external impacts and strong health and safety standards. We also hope this amendment creates opportunity not only for us, but for other responsible professionals in the future who may want to invest in Currituck County in a thoughtful and compatible way. We truly appreciate the time, guidance, and professionalism the planning staff has provided throughout the process, and we appreciate your consideration tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant from the board?
Excuse me, I'd like to make a comment if I may. I guess I'm a little old-fashioned in that I recall vividly the discussion that went on upon the approval of the first tattoo parlor in Moyock. But since then, my attitudes have changed dramatically. In the past week, I've been in Long Island and I've been in Myrtle Beach, and I was about the only non-blue person there. So I think whatever I think of it has very little to do with it, except that it obviously meets a public need, a public demand. And what you've described is something that's, I'm sure, going to be highly reputable and service to the community that's going to be looked for. So I wish you all the best and commend your efforts.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant or any additional questions for staff?
I would just like to see what the proposal would be for the buildings that would be on an acre to accommodate the two.
We have them on our phone.
I'm
if that's
happy to,
okay.
I have an iPad, I have my computer. I'm very happy to pull it up and show you what we have designed. Being that we have owned our own studio for 5+ years, we have designed this to be top tier medical grade facility, very private, and giving our clients a luxury experience. Our clients are not coming in from the highway. They're flying in and they're visiting us. They're getting a hotel and they're staying for a week. And they're coming to us every day, getting a full sleeve over 4 or 5 days period. So it's very intimate, very personal experience. We have been very diligent about the design of our tattoo studio, making it efficient for us as artists and also for our clients and also the county.
Yeah.
So if you'd like, I would be happy to pull it up. And
Yeah, we can take a look at the phone. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would just reiterate, this is a county-wide amendment, right? So
Correct. Yes.
if it's approved,
Right.
this is not necessarily the textbook application of.
We are happy to help
The
with the
use,
standards as well. Sorry.
Yeah, we can take a look, but I know what Jenny is saying, that specific to these young people, what they're doing is not,
The standard.
is the standard that
Yeah.
will come in the future, so.
And that would be my concern with any change in the special use or conditional. I just feel hesitant about that. Especially with two other businesses, not that far. Jenny, is there any thing that is to be considered on each one of the areas in the county? And let's say this is a maple parlor that's coming, and we have others in the near vicinity. But what is the, standard for allowing other businesses such as that within, say, Maple or Grandy or anywhere else?
So the way the ordinance amendment is written currently, any property that was eligible to apply, meaning it had general business zoning, met the separation from the uses that it's required to be separated from, could come in and apply for a special use permit,
Okay.
right? So if you were concerned about proliferation, there's options to include like a 5-mile radius, like no tattoo studio. You know, in the LIHI, it says it's got to be 500 feet apart. But if you wanted to try to address proliferation of tattoo studios, you could do something like that where you say can't be within 5. If it's in GB, it can't be within 5 miles of another one in GB or something like that.
How
You're
about
concerned.
how about Corolla?
You could prohibit Corolla
We could prohibit Corolla.
in the GB district, yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't think there's any LI or HI in Corolla, so it's currently not permitted in
It would all be general business, I would imagine.
Let me just show y'all their site plan, the house and.
I found it at the same time.
She's got it.
Oh,
So it's just the house here and a small studio here and the highways out here, the sound out here.
okay.
And then if I may,
Thing that's around that.
So 2 lots this way is the Currituck Trading Post.
Uh-huh, okay.
There's a house here, and there's some lots that go around that way.
Mm-hmm.
Again, countywide amendment, so let's not get too tied up in their site plan.
Right.
yeah. And then we also, in preparation for this and for the Board of Commissioners, also in our application, we have spoken to our neighbors and we've gotten letters of support from them regarding our business, and they're very supportive of it.
Do you have those?
They were provided in our application.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, any more questions? So it's clear we can put stipulations. If we meet.
They should address compatibility or some
Absolutely.
sort of community value or some purpose of the UDO or purpose or policy of the land use plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Imagine Currituck.
Okay, and any more discussion with staff or with the board members? Within ourselves? So I'm going to entertain a motion at this time, but I do want it to be clear that we can put stipulations in there. We talked about Kerala, established hours. I want to talk about signage as well, Jenny. In this case, it sounds like signage is just not an issue.
No, sir.
Because it's all through appointments, so
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
people will not know
No, sir.
that you're
Yes, sir.
there unless they know you're there.
Ideally, we don't want it that way.
Yeah.
We don't want people
People
coming
walking
to our
in.
place.
And-
This is our sanctuary.
See, that's fine. I want to make sure, though, that's for you guys, that when we word it, we deal with signage, because that will be a problem going down the road, I believe, possibly. So give me some help on that, Jenny,
On the signage piece?
Yeah, yeah.
What, do you want to allow a smaller sign?
Well, I'm just wondering at this time, what is the signage requirements on this at this point?
Well, currently, they're really not allowed to have a sign.
Have it at all. At
In
all, that's what
LI or
I'm saying.
HI, right? But it's also not allowed in GB, which
Right.
is where you typically have, your customer type of interaction with a personal services type building.
Mm-hmm.
So it would make sense to have a sign for GB uses, maybe
Right.
more so than LI and HI.
Exactly, yeah.
So, but again, like I said, they're not beholden to this signage provision. But this amendment would also allow, if it was crafted in such a way, it would allow the Grandy location to come into compliance with,
Exactly.
getting a special use permit and operating. So, if you felt like in GB there should be some stricter requirements for sign area, height, etc., that can certainly be amended and recommended if that's the way
Within the
you're kind
motion.
of looking toward. Yes. So, 32 square feet is less than a typical GB use would be allowed to have. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't specify wall or freestanding, so you could elect to have a wall or a freestanding sign potentially.
Or internally lit as
That
well.
was,
That was somewhere, I saw that
Internally
somewhere. I was thinking
illuminated signs are
Prohibited.
not permitted.
yeah, that was prohibited.
prohibited.
They're not permitted.
So
So
32 squares with sheet of plywood.
Yeah,
That would be a neon, so it wouldn't, no neon signs would be permitted as it stands now,
neon, no.
correct?
right. And how about externally lit signs? Signs
There's
that
no
have a light.
prohibition on lighting a sign,
No prohibition.
but
on
you
lighting.
could say not light it. I mean, you could
Maybe not-
potentially craft that if that was.
Maybe not lighted after a certain time period, or maybe no lights at all.
Right, so the ordinance, I think, has illumination of 10 PM already in the lighting ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Think-
It's
let me
a
put
lot
my
to
eyes
go
on
over.
that.
That's, I want us to get this right, and there's a lot going on here, and I want the board to understand.
yeah, because Kitty Hawk has limited 8 AM to 8 PM as a part of their, and then Kill Devil Hills is 8 to 10. But I do think that's important as
Yeah.
time goes on, and not necessarily specific to you all, but this is going to cover, like Jenny said, the whole
Currituck.
county and set a precedent, which we want to protect
Absolutely.
the county and the rural feel, and that goes back to the Imagine Currituck. So that's some of my concern, is to make sure we're not opening a Pandora box for things not necessarily that you would want to do, but
Correct.
others might.
Completely understand.
Yeah,
This is really, that was why it was a big push to you go by special use so that you guys would have control over who it can be, or have control over where they're setting up shop.
And not only where, but how.
How,
I
yes.
think is really what the board is really looking at. It's not the location, it's, and I mean, we could even, now you will not have a sign, is that correct? There will
will
not be.
not.
I mean, we can even put that in, guys, with it, there will be no sign.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not,
You could just leave the language as it was if you want to.
yeah,
because that comes under the consider community character and establish visions.
right. Right, so if we make a motion, again, the board can make a motion for approval or denial. With approval, if you've got certain stipulations that you want to look at these young people and say, okay, we get what they're doing. We want to make sure these standards continue in the future. You can actually mimic what they've said and what they're doing to go forward.
We think about the setback requirement.
Check with, yeah,
Jenny?
Jenny.
Ms. Turner, is there a setback requirement currently in place for the?
You mean on the lot?
Yes.
Where it will be located on the lot? Yeah, I mean, the typical setbacks of GB will be
Okay.
required. So
Which is how
15-foot side, possibly in their area, it would be 100 feet on the highway because it's a G1, which is a low-density transect. And then for them, it would be the CAMA setback on the rear.
Okay,
But generally speaking, it would be like a 25-foot rear setback.
okay.
Could I ask the applicants, please, if, given your choices, what would you consider to be normal operating hours that you might prescribe for yourself or for subsequent owners?
Yeah, so currently we operate and we plan to continue to operate from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
And that is one client a day. We do not have multiple clients.
Yeah, okay.
And this is your primary employment? You're not employed away from it? This is where you both would be employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
In this building and living there as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Where is your business currently, in Virginia Beach?
Yes, we're right off the boulevard in Wichita Road. If you're familiar with Freedom Shooting Center, we are
Oh,
right
yeah, and the axe throwing?
there. Yes.
Yes, right
Been there,
across the
done
street.
that, yeah.
Yes.
Right across the street from them.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
We're Grayscale Tattoo Gallery.
okay.
Okay, I'm gonna,
Draft something and.
yeah, if anyone wants to make a motion, we can certainly make one and we can put stipulations that would adhere to exactly what they presented. If we're concerned about opening the door, then we want to put certain, I hesitate to call it restrictions, but for a better term, that's basically what it is, and stipulations, then we can certainly make the motion to do that. And then that really does protect.
If I may, on the hours, just a search of the Siren Song, which is the one in Grandy. Online, it says 12 to 9. Big Country said like 11. Let's see, I lost it.
Sorry. Usually tattoo shops or tattoo studios in anywhere in Virginia, North Carolina that I've worked at have all been from around 11 to 12 in the morning to around 8 or 9 at night. That's not the hours that we work, but those are the roundabout hours of tattoo studios.
Yeah, so the Big Country
I've
is
been an
11
artist
to
for
6
sorry.
online.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that hours would be something that I think.
10 a.m. to 15. And, I'm going to throw this out there too. Do y'all operate on Sundays?
Yes, we operate 7 days a week.
Okay.
But mostly because of our clientele, they are typically white collar. They work Monday through Friday. So to accommodate them, we work on the weekends. So they have to miss as limited amount of work as possible.
And, we could tweak that, guys. We could, I'm just going to bring this up. You may have issues with that, with some neighbors, but we could tweak the Sunday hours. as well.
I can promise you, people will not know that we're working and
Okay.
tattooing.
But it's not you.
Okay,
Right.
See,
sure.
that's-
I know.
that's-
I
they
have to
may-
remember that.
They
Yes.
may be fine with that, but I'm going forward. It's other, that's the only,
The big picture.
Yeah.
And Jenny, where this is located, you said there were 2 lots that could potentially be built on?
No, their lot is vacant currently, and
And
then
yeah, but
there's
adjacent-
houses on the two
other
lots that are
adjacent
adjacent.
lot.
I mean, they
Okay.
could be built on. It could be redeveloped for commercial use. Could be redeveloped with a house,
What's currently their neighbors?
houses.
Just residential, okay.
And then on the other side, as you go like one or two down, it's Currituck Trading Post.
Yeah, I know where that is.
It's on the same side as Currituck Trading Post. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think I know exactly where. I know around, is it Hasty Point? Is that the name of
Yes,
it?
right there at the big billboard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's right.
right
for,
before.
like, house, lot, house, and then out.
Right.
Trading
Okay.
now.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna entertain a motion.
Is it gonna be a conditional? With the,
What we'll do is if we make a motion, and I want to make sure we're clear on this, we can make them, here's our cheat sheet. Right here. For approval, if you motion to approve. But you can allow those stipulations here. Whether it's established hours, no signage, such as that.
I think the no signage going
We put
forward.
that, we can
is
put that in
important.
there.
And I do think the no Sundays only because of this being a more conservative,
And that's fine.
you know.
That's fine. I mean, we can put that in there. And I want you to understand the process, and I'm sure staff has told you this. We are an advisory board. So we make a recommendation and the commissioners have final approval.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Our job usually is more or less to bring up certain questions and certain issues that they may not have been aware of. It's much more informal here.
Okay.
So stipulations we may bring up, you certainly can say, okay, I know where they're coming from here. Gives you a chance to get any type of arguments or any type of changes you may want
Okay.
in front of the commissioners.
Okay.
So just be aware of that. This is a process.
Yes.
And I just want you to be clear on that and going forward.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, in their case, the parking for you may be just a driveway per se.
Yes, ma'am.
But I
Yes,
think
we
that's
do
something-
have room for two clients to park on our property,
Okay.
and that's all that we have. That's all that we will need.
Yeah, and I mean, that you bring up another point, Peggy. That's something to no more than 3 cars at one time. I mean, that's certainly within our, we can do that. And
Okay.
again, we'll leave it to the commissioners to tweak and talk and deal with that, but we
Right.
can do that. That's not a problem. They are bringing a case in front of us, but we've got to be aware that this will be countywide.
Right.
Well, they could set the standard.
Yes.
Right,
And
that's
we're-
what, exactly, that they
We would-
could,
we would
they
absolutely
could set the standard at this
We are
point.
limited to only 2 tattoo artists in our studio.
Yeah,
Is that you two?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if you begin to grow?
We do not want to
We don't
grow.
want to.
We don't want to deal with the personalities, and we just want to take care of ourselves and make money off our own artwork, not other people's artwork. We've been there, done that. It just doesn't align with our goals and visions as human beings. We just want to take care of ourselves and take care of our own clients and give them the best service that we can give them without worrying about all the other
right.
stuff.
And keep in mind that if they do grow and they do make some changes, then
That
we've,
reflects back on what we're talking about.
exactly, we have laid the rules and the parameters that they will operate under, and then they would be in violation. So that's, you
Yes.
know,
Okay, because a lot of times you sound like you're maybe a step above some of the tattoo parlors, but
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
if you envision any type of additional service that are compatible with that, a hair salon may include,
Pearson.
yeah, or even a You made me forget what I was going to say.
All right.
Hair salon.
But a hair salon may bring in something else that's compatible with what they're doing, whether it's let's say a foot massage or some type of service that's compatible with that. So that would be something else that I think we need to really put in there, that even though you all are proposing just for the tattoos and the piercings, and not wanting to grow, but let's face it, when we have a business, we do like to see growth. And we do like anything that is going to appeal. And if you have an upper end clientele, I have a tattoo, and I went to a reputable tattoo parlor, did not feel threatened and all of that. They were extremely busy, but they did offer other things on site. So that's with that being said, that's something I think should be written in the,
Right, and I think this is
What do you
specific.
mean by that?
She's wants that they're not going to expand beyond what they're bringing in, but this,
Oh,
but this is for tattoos and piercings only. That there wouldn't be a massage, let's say, something where they would offer massages as well as
Okay, but
this.
that's allowed in GB. So are you saying that if you have a tattoo parlor, body piercing establishment, that you couldn't then have an accessory salon?
I
Like,
think
you
that's
need the
what
special use permit for that piece, but you couldn't be a salon operator and massage parlor or whatever and have that use too. It has to be a completely standalone use and a standalone unit.
That's what she's saying.
yeah, unless they were going to do another application somehow. Their application is for what it is. But
Right, but only tattoo parlors need a special use permit. A massage parlor does not. A salon does not, right? It's allowed in GB with a zoning permit subject to any standards that would apply,
Okay.
right? So you're saying that this use would preclude any other uses from that site that were allowed in GB?
yes, I do, because I think that it could get very complicated.
Okay,
be-
so do you mean that, like, in other words, if you had a 4-unit commercial building, you could not do tattooing there?
Depending on what was in there, but then we're back to
What do you-
how close are other tattoo parlors within that? And
Right.
what are in those 4 units that are in?
Okay, so let's talk about that. So is that a condition that you want to craft, that tattoo parlor is the only commercial principal use allowed? Like in GB, not LINHI, but in GB, if you're getting a special use for tattoo parlors, that could be the only commercial use allowed on that property. Is that what you're getting at?
Or maybe the building.
Of that type of business, for that type of business.
Well, that's what you're saying, though. You're
Yes.
saying if okay, so that's a condition of that you would craft
put
in your
that in there.
motion. So you would need to craft that in your motion, and maybe that's in the additional standards, where it's
And
in
again,
the GB district, tattoo parlor / body piercing establishments shall be the only commercial use operating from the subject parcel or something like that. I mean, we could try to kind of refine the language.
Exactly.
Or maybe the premises.
And also,
Well, parcel's defined by the ordinance, so that might,
yeah,
is that what you mean by premises?
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
let's say their space was large, just use an example, their space is large enough, hey, we've got another room over here, let's bring in someone to do toes or nails or something like,
Yeah.
just for that premises only, is that where you're?
like a strip shopping
Right.
center or something like
Yeah.
that.
and this again is going forward.
Sure.
This is protecting the county, basically, from
Okay,
someone who may not have your vision.
right.
Correct.
And keep in mind, I don't want to have lost this too in all this conversation. Jenny originally said something about that we can allow these, but they have to be several miles apart.
Correct.
That they, should not be clustered in one particular area. And we can certainly put that. So I want to go over some of the things we've talked about if a motion is made for approval. We have established hours, maybe in the emotion, only for tattoo and piercing, which is what we've been talking about recently, that any other similar business shall be a certain distance apart from this business. No signs. And those are the three or four things that I think we've talked about, but any additional concerns, can be made in the form of a motion.
I'm going to try to, well, if you would like a sample of what we just talked about that you could potentially include in your motion, I can try to type that out here. And
Okay. Thank you.
I should have snipped it, and I can't.
And we're here, so it's about 30 miles between here and there. So,
You're gonna say, and they're in Maple,
yeah, it's a little further south. So I'm just looking at the overall.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all right.
All right, there we go. So what in Grandy,
Yeah, it's gonna be there
in Moyock?
in my yard.
Okay.
It's about, let's say, 70 miles.
Yeah, we want to make,
My location.
yeah, we're trying to make sure if we do a mileage thing that we're not messing up. And all of a sudden you're not in compliance.
Yeah, everybody's
Thank
got
Yeah.
close. So it's 30 miles. The only grass is 10 miles down the road.
Okay. We can do what about-
May I ask a question for clarification? Would permanent makeup also fall under tattooing? Because I'm licensed as a permanent makeup artist too, and I just want to make sure that that still falls under tattooing for you guys. Okay.
That's my understanding. We can look at the definition here in just.
And there again, that opens up the other complementary services that would go along with your business. So again, we need to make sure that we are laying this out, so if other businesses want to come into the county, and I've used your types of services, so I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but from my side of the table, it's, what's in the best interest of the county and going forward,
Absolutely.
so.
So we can come up with our mileage.
Yeah, I'm trying to,
Can I see that?
I'll ask them what let me get their address. Kind of go from
They'll
there.
tell you.
Yeah. What is the address of your property?
3593 Currituck Highway.
593 Currituck. Okay, so it's 14 miles down to that one.
Down to Grandy.
Down to Grandy.
14. And then how about Tomoka?
Yeah, let me check
It'll
that
be
one.
probably a little bit further, I think.
Probably might be a little bit further up the road.
So 14 from Moyock.
It's 14 from where they are to the Grandy location.
okay.
And then we're getting to Modoc, which I think is going to probably be over 14. So,
That's 16.
Okay, so, well, that's
So if you did
darn the difference.
10 miles, that
10 would do it.
I think so.
Basically,
Uh-huh.
have one,
Yeah, every 10 miles.
but we don't have enough for 10 miles.
Right.
I don't know what south is. I don't know how far south, from Sirens on down.
I think that's the only one in the county.
It is, but I'm not
That's the
sure, I'm not
furthest
sure
south.
what their distance
Okay.
is to the county line. I don't know.
And I
Which
also
one?
just remember too that I would, as far as I'm concerned, I would like to make a motion that this not apply to Corolla. Given the climate there. Given the
Did y'all decide
residents.
on mileage separation?
Yeah, 10.
10?
And we looked at, to Moyock was, to Big Country was what, 14, Steve? 16, and then 14 to Siren Song, from where they're located.
Now, is this just for regulating GB, like LIHI uses would also be part of this? Or
If
just
they,
in the GB?
okay, so what let's see how that works, because there's fewer heavy industrial and light industrial throughout the county.
There's not a lot of heavy
Right.
and light industrial.
Right.
Again, I'm not aware of any operating from light or heavy industrial currently.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not sure what's, this area over here obviously would be 34, 158, that would be a different,
right, it's gonna be a radius, yeah.
be a
yeah,
radius.
Yeah,
Good.
So maybe put the word radius. in
Yeah,
there.
radius, Jenny, is another term for the,
10-mile radius.
yeah, well, I'm mimicking, we already have another set of language related to campgrounds being 5 miles apart. So I'm just using that same consistent
Okay.
language for this. And I think this is gonna accomplish the radius.
So basically, it would be the only one of this highway.
Even points west.
How many times can I say tattoo parlor?
until the next person comes along.
It depends on what the commission decides. I mean, we're just laying it out there. It can change everything. But we can, what we're comfortable with, we can,
Well, given the climate that we're in, hopefully more conservative, so that we don't become a Baltimore or Virginia Beach.
chat of it to improve going forward. But, I mean, we really are trying to pigeonhole our motion to what these people are
Right.
bringing in front of us.
Can I go back on one thing?
Yes, sir.
Could I suggest perhaps that the applicant should be given the opportunity to have a sign, a small, modest sign, if nothing else, for the point of view of deliveries, emergency services, mail services, and on and on, for any sort of emergency service to reach you or reach your building, your home, after dark or even in daytime. There's got to be something other than just that mailbox with a little discreet company name written below the number. So that if it could be granted, they have the option of having a sign by which they can be identified quite readily.
I think there's some standards related to home occupation signage, and that might be an appropriate place to look to. For home occupations, says up to one advertising sign shall be allowed, provided the sign does not exceed 6 square feet in area per side or more than 4 feet in height. No signage shall be illuminated or moving.
That would allow for a sign 2 foot high and 3 feet wide, which is more than adequate, I would have thought.
Right.
Just as for deliveries especially.
Yeah, is there a height restriction?
4 feet, I think is
4
what it
feet?
said for that.
Okay.
I'm
typing this, but if I don't need to, just let me know. I'm just trying to help out.
You go ahead. We'll try to word it so we're covering all the bases.
I'm blending home occupation with the proposed language currently.
Okay.
Okay. Did we decide on, did the
time.
board decide on hours of operation?
You guys are operating 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., correct?
Yes, sir.
I think that's reasonable.
Let's just put that in.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
That's what's in front of us.
10 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Yes.
And that doesn't really conflict with additional residential.
Did you say something about Sunday? I'm sorry. Did I catch.
How does the board feel? I threw that out there just simply because it may be an issue.
Well, here again, I go back to the Imagine Currituck and the conservative area of people who, or the conservative attitude people have. And I think Sunday closing is reasonable. That's my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, we can put that in the form of a motion, but they do understand, you know, that is out there. If they disagree with that, they can come to the commissioners and make your point.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You guys can sit
Yeah,
down if
I'll-
you
I'll-
want.
Oh, we're happy to
I know you're
stay
young
here.
and your legs are strong and everything, but you know, if you need to sit down, that's
Okay,
not a
it's
problem.
important to us. It's fine.
Alternatively, you could allow the board to consider hours of operation through the special use permit process, if that was,
So we could put that in the motion as well. Possibly.
or you
the
could
commissioners or
go
us?
right at the Sunday, or you could say, through the special use permit process,
Sunday
the board,
hours can
the board
be
may set,
Sunday hours as they see fit.
yeah, and, yeah.
Okay.
Put the 10 miles in there.
Yeah, in the 10-mile radius.
Do we get the 10 miles?
No, I
Yeah.
think that would be, let's see, make sure
It's
it's
very
not.
wordy.
No, but I mean, that's,
That's in the second paragraph.
yeah. There it is, yeah, within 10 miles. Second paragraph. Starting in the GB district, no tattoo parlor, body piercing.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Anything else, guys?
Small.
I do not have anything.
All okay? Anything
Yes.
else?
No, sir.
Okay.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see if we can get a motion. Is that it, Jenny? I think we covered it.
I
Like-
believe that's what you had
I think that's it.
discussed. So you've got not in Corolla, hours of operation, signage. They had discussed kind of intensity with respect to number of clients. Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's everything.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion from the board. And you would, of course, use your cheat sheet. And then,
Did we didn't put in here about the number of cars, the parking, that was something that we discussed. That's not on here. If it was gonna be,
Okay, so are you limiting, you're limiting the number of cars, or you're limiting the parking spaces
Well,
set
here
aside,
again-
or you're limiting stations? Tattoo, like what is the best approach to limit that?
yeah,
Like, it's gonna be a very difficult zoning condition to say,
you can't have
you
but
guys
so
have
many
more
people.
cars out here, right?
Because you don't
It's
know
more
which
about
cars are personal cars and which ones
the
are
intensity
business
of the
cars.
use that you're driving, right?
Right.
That's driving. So and in their instance, this is a small studio, 2 cars probably is the max.
How many
they would have
stations
with
do you
respect
guys
to-
have?
To there,
2 stations.
right?
So that would be better to word number of stations in the establishment as
Right.
opposed to the number of cars.
okay,
Right.
Yeah, keep
Like if you
it
wanted to
down.
limit in GB the number of tattoo stations
Right. To 2.
to 2.
Yeah, y'all want, is it- you
Is that-
comfortable with that?
Did you say tattoo or tattoo?
Plain.
It's
been a long day.
No, no, have discussed.
Yeah.
All right.
Number of stations is,
I'm gonna kind of put these together. I think we don't need to say we don't need to repeat GB district ad nauseum.
Yeah.
So,
By the way, if they specify the number of customer or client spots that are available or that we require to have, will they be bound by requirements for handicapped parking and designated handicapped
They-
parking spots and so on?
I do believe that the ADA requirements will be, required. I believe so. I'll double check with our,
A lot to go.
building
There's a lot
inspector,
Yeah.
with that.
chief
Yeah.
building inspector on that.
So there again, that's adding one more. If you had a minimum of two, you still have to have the handicap. So then you're up to three. So if you limit it to four, and I'm just thinking future, that's,
Yeah, 2 stations
I
is
don't
going to
suggest
limit the
using
number of customers per
That's
day.
one limit to the business growth too.
You're right, and it's going to limit the growth.
for them. But,
You want to keep that from other tattoo parlors that have more than 2.
okay. Okay. Which is already the case, right?
Okay, are we ready?
Give me one sec.
Okay.
Can you guys see the hourglass there?
I
Oh,
can.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
yes.
what's happening.
Yeah. Put on a Feed the squirrel.
There we go.
Alright, I was just gonna pull the. Oh, yeah, okay. Alright, it doesn't like what I'm trying to do.
Are you just trying to neaten it up a little bit?
Yeah, I was just
Okay.
trying to neaten it up a little bit, pull this language here. So in other words, in the GB district, there's the tattoo parlor being the only use, the 10-mile radius, or 10-mile
Okay,
separation. Then I would pull the hours of operation, because that's also related to the GB district. Then you've got prohibited in Corolla, then you have signage, which will apply to all of this type of use.
okay.
So hopefully that's clear enough.
Yeah, thank you, Jenny.
Sure.
That makes it a lot easier to make a motion. Okay. Board comfortable with this? Okay. At this time, I'm gonna entertain a motion for approval or denial.
Approve.
Okay, you go ahead.
Got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, make this motion here. And you would read that in this section here.
Okay.
Just read that.
I move to approve the PB 26-06 Bear text amendment because the request is in conformance with the general purpose and intent of the Unified Development Ordinance and is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including land use goals 2 and 3, land use policies 1.3, 2.1, 2.2, and Economic Development Goal 1. The board must include any suggested changes to the text amendment language in the motion, which are in the general business district, a tattoo parlor, body piercing establishment, use shall be the sole commercial use established on the subject parcel. No tattoo parlor, body piercing establishment shall be located within 10 miles from another tattoo parlor, body piercing establishment located in the GB district as measured from exterior property lines of the parcel containing the tattoo parlor, body piercing establishment. Okay. Tattoo parlor, body piercing establishments are prohibited in Corolla. In the GB district, hours of operation shall be limited to 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Through the special use permit process, the Board of Commissioners may limit Sunday hours of operation. Signage. Up to one advertising sign shall be allowed, provided the sign does not exceed 6 square feet in area per side or more than 4 feet in height. Signage shall not be internally illuminated or moving. Window signs are prohibited.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody need to take a break before we move on to, the next one's what, just a text amendment? Okay. Okay, let's move on. Planning Board 26-05, Currituck County. The Technical Review Committee is requesting an amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance, Chapter 4, Use Standards, Section 4.2.3, to exempt county-owned minor utilities from the dimensional development and use-specific standards of the ordinance. At this time, we'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is, as you read, a text amendment submitted by the Technical Review Committee. Really, Public Utilities is the one that has requested this. They're currently in the planning for a couple of pump stations along the highway. And the way that we are able to do some of that is some parcels we have easements, some parcels we have small little parcels that are non-conforming. The ordinance gives the director some flexibility on a non-conforming parcel to maybe reduce setbacks and things like that. But with respect to the easement properties, there's no real authority for discretion with that. And so we just kind of targeted minor utilities specifically and county-owned minor utilities, right? So that's going to be basically water, wastewater. And the computer's not working.
The minor utilities include what, Jenny?
For county-owned minor utilities, it's going to be water and wastewater. So pump stations along the highway, small little kind of shedish-like buildings, basically with a little bit of driveway. And I can show you an example of what that would look like here. First, we'll just look at the section of the ordinance. It's 4.2.3. Yeah, 4.2.3J, utility minor. And you can see number 6 is added, that county-owned minor utility facilities shall be exempt from the dimensional standards of Chapter 3. That's lot coverage, setbacks. Development standards of Chapter 5, those are like parking, lighting, landscaping, and then the use-specific standards of this particular section, but are encouraged to comply to the extent practicable as determined by the county. So we'll still review, we'll still suggest any kind of compatibility things that we can implement with these projects as they come through. Let me right now just go ahead and show you what we're talking about. This is a Barco pump station, and this is proposed on property across from the high school. It's school-owned property, and we have an easement there, but it's not a parcel. It's also in the G1 transect. So what does that mean? That means you have a 100-foot setback from the major arterial, which is Currituck Highway, right? But it's county-owned utilities trying to improve our water infrastructure. And you can see here, hopefully, if it loads, yep. You can see it's just a small 267 square foot building with a little bit of a driveway right off the highway.
And the county maintains that for?
Yeah, this is not there yet, but yeah,
right,
it's
but-
part of the county's water system.
And I guess that's fenced in with some type of fencing to protect it from?
Sometimes it's fenced in and sometimes it's not. So I don't see any fences here. That's just the easement area that you're seeing here. So this is the little booster pump station building. You can see it's about 267 square feet, so not very big. There's obviously a driveway here for them to get in there to access it. So that, I just wanted to give you an example of what we're talking about. So we're not talking about major utility infrastructure here. So back to the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan. There are lots of policies about infrastructure and county services and goals as well. They're here. They're also in your agenda packet. And staff recommends approval because it's consistent with the ordinance and the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including those infrastructure and county services goals 1, 3, 8, and 9, as well as those policies 8.1 and 9.1 related to infrastructure and county services. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the board has at this time.
Any questions for staff?
I need to go back and do my homework on what some of these, but
Do you want to see those policies, Peggy?
no. I guess my other consideration is, the placement of these in relationship to residential and also, the maintenance of them. Sometimes these can, I've noticed them in other areas, they can be cute little attractive places if they're maintained well, especially if you have residential properties around it, which with our growth, that would be my biggest concern.
Yeah, I would hope our county facilities are getting maintained. And now you're going to see utilities along the highway that aren't county, right? So there's gas and electrical and other types of utilities out there that aren't county maintained.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions or comments? Any discussion between board members? Okay, at this time I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve PB 2605 Currituck County text amendment because request in conformance with the general purpose and intent of the Unified Development Ordinance is consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Imagine Currituck 2040 Vision Plan, including ICS goals 1, 3, 8, and 9, as well as ICS policies 8.1 and 9.1.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed likewise. Motion passes. Okay, that takes care of all new business. Any announcements?
Just a reminder that some of you, I think, are signed up for the training on Thursday, the 14th. So hopefully that will be really great training for you. Thanks for taking the time to do that. We really appreciate it. That's all I have, I believe.
Okay. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Meeting. Thank you, guys.